PS5 and Spider-Man 2 reach new milestones amid concerns for future first-party games, 3 Xbox games may be multi-platform, an update on the Final Fantasy VII demo and Part 3, and Bloober team blames Konami for Silent Hill 2 showing. All that and more in today's PlayStation news. Let's get to them. Sony has announced the new PlayStation Plus catalog games for extra, deluxe and premium users this month, with games for RPG, LEGO and racing fans. The catalog lineups includes Need for Speed Unbound, The Outer Worlds Spacer's Choice Edition, Tales of Arise, Assassin's Creed Valhalla returning to the service after over a year, LEGO Worlds, LEGO Jurassic Park, Rogue Books, Rogue Lords and Tales of Cestiria. As for deluxe and premium, you guys get Resistance Retribution, the PSP classic from Days Gone Studios Sony event, which was leaked for over a year now, plus Jet Moto 2, Tales of Symphonia and Tales of Vesperia. Also remember there's a new Spider-Man 2 trial out now that allows you to play the game for 2 hours. The new catalog update will be up for download on February 20th, and now is the last chance to play the 10 games leaving next Monday, February 19th, such as Tekken 7, Resident Evil 7 Biohazard, Ace Combat 7 Skies Unknown, Tacoma, Oninaki, Lost Sphere, I Am Setsuna, Thomas Was Alone, Hue, and Lost Wars Beyond the Page. I think it's a solid month with stuff like Need for Speed, The Outer Worlds, and Assassin's Creed Valhalla returning, besides Resistance Retribution. What do you think? What games will you be playing? Let us know in the comments or vote on the poll in the community tab. Now let's talk about Sony's quarterly results, where PS5 did record numbers but still underperformed. The company managed to sell 8.2 million PS5 consoles, taking the total install base to 54.8 million, which is a record quarter for PS5, beating previous highs like 7.1 million in Q3 during the previous fiscal year. However, it fell short of beating the PS4 console ship record of 9.7 million consoles in Q3 of fiscal year 16, and it also fell short of Sony's expectations, which hoped to move 25 million consoles by March this year, but adjusted that forecast to 21 million. 21 million is already a huge number for PS5. If they hit that target, it will be the most PS5s they have sold to date in a year, and to put it in perspective, is about as much as the Xbox Series has sold in 3 years. So it's not a bad result, just underwhelming after Sony had strong expectations given the recovery from the stock issues, so much they wanted to beat the record established by the original PS1. They also said the console will now enter the latter half of its life cycle, which has been misreported online. This means PS5 will be around 3 or 4 more years before its successor hits the market. I know it doesn't seem like it, but yes, there have been 4 years since the console came out. In regards to games, they revealed and Insomniac announced that Spider-Man 2 has reached 10 million units sold as of February 4, which is about 100 days. The original did 9 million in about 80 days, and 13.2 in 325 days on sale according to IGN. Spider-Man 2 becomes the second blockbuster to hit 10 million in 2 years, after God of War Ragnarok, and the series now tallies over 50 million units sold across all titles on PS4, PS5 and PC. The bad news is that Sony doesn't plan to release any new titles from major first-party franchises. That doesn't mean they don't have any games, as the first 4 months are stacked with titles like Helldivers 2, Stellar Blade and Rise of the Ronin, plus third-party. Concord is also scheduled for this year or early next, and there are also rumors from insider Jeff Grubb that a new Astrobot game could happen this year. The studio has listed the game on their job website as their biggest game to date. But going back to Sony not having major franchises, it just means we're not going to see a God of War, Spider-Man, Horizon, The Last of Us and so on until after March 2025. And thus they expect PS5 sales to gradually decline over the next fiscal year. Just like they revealed at CES in January, the monthly active users reached a record high of 123 million in December, with total gameplay time increasing 13% year on year due to increasing popularity of third-party and free-to-play hit titles. However, PlayStation Plus numbers, while not being reported, were set to decline year on year, despite a revenue increase of 11%. That is because the higher tiers are covering the expense of anyone who has left. Revenue for the PlayStation division reached $10.20 billion, over 15% more than last year, but profits were down almost 26% to $0.60 billion. Sony CEO Hiroki Totoki, who will temporarily replace Jim Ryan after he leaves, spoke about Sony's first-party studio, saying that while everyone is working hard to optimize the business, there's room for improvement in terms of overall growth and sustainable profitability or increased margin. One of the solutions, according to Totoki, is to grow multi-platform. If you have a strong first-party content not only on our console but also other platforms like computers, a first-party game can be grown with multi-platform, and that can help operating profits to improve, so that's another one we want to proactively work on. Now that sounds very similar to the rumors surrounding Xbox, but for now it likely only means more titles will launch on PC, maybe even day and date, to improve their margin performance. But with development costs rising and projects taking more time, don't discard that maybe the future of gaming is one without exclusives, where you can access a game anywhere. I'm not saying it's going to happen soon, but it's a possibility down the line. What do you think of these PlayStation results? Voice your opinion in the comments. One of the possible strategies for Sony to improve PS5 sales over the next year is the launch of the rumored PS5 Pro. Now we have more details about its potential price and specs. YouTuber Moore's Law is Dead posted a new video where he claims to confirm some of the leaked specs, including an AMD Zen 2 based 8-core GPU on their TSMC 4nm process, reaching up to 4.4 GHz, an RDNA 3 GPU with 60 CUs, an XDNA NPU for dedicated AI processes, 16 GB of RAM which remains the same, and a bigger memory bandwidth of 576 GB per second. The YouTuber said those are not final as the CPU clock speeds were not confirmed from the leak last December. He thinks the console will have a holiday 2024 release with a price tag of $500 for a disc-less model, with the cost being minimal for Sony as they are keeping the RAM the same and can go for the cheapest one. Are you looking forward to a PS5 Pro? Let us know in the comments. Next, SIE has filed a trademark in the US that may hint at a new game and maybe even its developer. Intergalactic the Heretic Prophet is a trademark for a new game, likely the project title and not the final name, probably so that it doesn't leak. They haven't announced anything like this, but the title indicates a space adventure and we can speculate a bit. Santa Monica Studio has been rumored to be working on a new space game, being led by God of War director Cory Barlog, something that writer Alana Pierce may have spilled during a podcast. Naughty Dog has been linked to a space game too in the past, with speculation due to the Last of Us Savage Starlight comic series, but their next game appears to be fantasy-based. Last year there was also a leak of an Ooze RPG shooter that has allegedly been in development at the Outriders studio People Can Fly, along with ex-devs since 2021, which looked like a space game as well. We'll see what turns out of this, but in the meantime drop your bets in the comments. Now talking more about Helldivers 2 was Arrowhead Studio CEO Johan Pilestedt, who commented the game's development took nearly 8 years, specifically 7 years, 11 months and 26 days to create. This was on Twitter, where the director also expressed gratitude to the fans for supporting a game that devolves into a farce of his favorite movies and books. He further explained it was a game that he had on the back of his head since doing mods for the original Serious Sam game. Regarding monetization, Pilestedt emphasized that studios should have to earn the right to monetize, so that if people want to support the game they can, but they are not forced to do so. Helldivers 2 has been criticized for pay-to-win elements that give special weapons to anyone who purchases the Battle Pass, but Pilestedt indicates that these are items that are functionally different and look cool, but it's not that good. There was also a hint towards new content, as they will be looking for more developers to accelerate the content plan for the game, which may include new enemies. Helldivers 2 continues to be a strong success for Sony and Arrowhead, as it has reached a new Steam peak of over 200,000 users, and capacity overall including PS5 surpasses 360,000 users. Next, Sony has revealed the PlayStation Store's top downloads for January, where it was business as usual for two big titles. On PS5, Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3 held the line in the top spot from the previous month in the US and Canada, but it lost to GTA 5 in Europe, which climbed 2 spots. The spell from 2023's best-selling game Hogwarts Legacy intensified a bit, as the game climbed from 10th to 8th in the US and only 1 spot to number 4 in Europe. Bandai Namco's fighting game Tekken 8 debuted at number 4 and 5 in the US, Canada and Europe respectively, while Game of the Year winner Baldur's Gate 3 rolled up 1 spot in both regions to number 6. Another new game was Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown, but sadly didn't make the top 10, landing 13th in Europe and 19th in the US, Canada. Maybe we should rewind time. First-party titles saw Spider-Man 2 at number 10, leaving The Last of Us Part 2 Remastered out of the top in the US, but it didn't affect the European chart at 10. For PS4 games, Minecraft and EA Sports FC24 led the chart for each region respectively, followed by Red Dead Redemption 2, Need for Speed Heat, A Way Out, and Batman Arkham Knight. Meanwhile, PSVR 2 had Beat Saber, Five Nights at Freddy's Help Wanted 2, Among Us VR, Pavlov, Job Simulator, and Horizon Call of the Mountain in the top 5 across both regions. Then the free-to-play games chart was controlled by the same titles, Roblox, Fortnite, and Call of Duty Warzone, but the finals released last December is still holding up. What games did you pick up last month? Let us know in the comments. Moving on, Microsoft announced the long-awaited business update after several rumors of them changing course and launching games multi-platform had social media on fire last week. The event will take place this Thursday, February 15 at 3 PM Eastern, 12 PM Pacific, with executives Phil Spencer, Microsoft Gaming CEO, Sarah Bond, Xbox President, and Matt Booty, head of Xbox Game Studios. They will be addressing all these rumors in podcast form, and that tells me they have lots to talk about. We also have a report from Inverse, who talked to Microsoft employees in anonymity about the internal town hall they had where Sarah Bond said that every screen is an Xbox, and talked about their multi-platform strategy with the ambitions of becoming the #1 cross-platform gaming company. Rumors have spiraled out of control and said multiple games were being considered for release on PlayStation, such as Starfield, Gears of War, and Halo, but a new leak from The Verge tells us the first 3 games we can expect. According to Tom Warren, Hi-Fi Rush and Pentiment will be the first 2 releases, with Sea of Thieves planned for a release later this year as well. Many believe the Sea of Thieves Twitter account has started teasing its launch on other platforms, with a Valentine's message referencing each console's color branding. All the other games were rumored as quote-unquote being considered, so they may or may not arrive on other platforms. We'll have to wait to see what Microsoft will announce tomorrow. Are you looking forward to playing these 3 games on PlayStation if it turns out true? Share with us in the comments. Next, there have been concerns by fans about Silent Hill 2 ever since it was shown in the latest State of Play, but it was said it didn't look good because it was an early build. Now, Bloober Team CEO Piotr Babiono has fully blamed Konami for the marketing bid in an interview reported by Will from Resident Evil Central. He expressed his disappointment with the trailer, saying it doesn't reflect the spirit of the game, as they are trying as much as possible to reflect the vision of a game that debuted 22 years ago. Konami is the one in charge of marketing and they make their own decisions, which Bloober Team can't comment on. They were not involved in the production of the trailer, and he couldn't tell from which stage of the game's development it was cut. He reassured fans about the game's graphics since it's been done with Unreal Engine 5, and it will look like one of the better games in that engine. He couldn't, however, speculate on the release date, but they are confident it is a good product. The interview was shortly taken down for unknown reasons, but something tells me Konami didn't like the tone of the answers. Are you looking forward to Silent Hill 2? Worried about the game's graphics? Voice your opinion in the comments. Now, a game that was sort of a disappointment was Immortals of Aveum, and an ex-studio developer has talked about it, citing it as a truly awful idea given the current gaming landscape. The Ascendant Studios title failed to resonate with players in a crowded market, particularly overshadowed by the release of Starfield just 2 weeks later. IGN reported that according to the developer, the game released in August 2023 had a cost of $125 million, with EA helping with $40 million of that total for marketing and distribution. It was also massively overscoped for a studio's debut project, and despite they had some serious talent on the development team, making a AAA single-player shooter in today's market was an awful idea, especially since it was a new IP that was also trying to leverage Unreal Engine 5. The game ended up perceived as bloated and repetitive, leading to disappointing reviews and lukewarm receptions on platforms like Metacritic, where it currently holds a Metascore of 69 and a user score of 6.0 on PS5. It was a weird idea given the game was supported through the EA Originals label, which has been great for smaller titles such as It Takes Two. Did you play Immortals of Aveum? What did you think about it? Share with us in the comments. Let's move now to Final Fantasy VII news, as Square Enix has announced the Final Fantasy VII Rebirth demo will be updated on February 21st, applying improvements to visual quality when selecting performance mode. This update will also add the Junon area that was promised at the dedicated State of Play. By the way, many people have criticized that demo due to the use of yellow paint as a visual cue for gamers to learn the next area they have to advance. Some don't like the hand-holding, which was also criticized in Resident Evil 4, while others like John Lindman from Digital Foundry pointed out similar visual cues in the original game, and accessibility expert Steve Saylor said the feature helps people with low vision or cognitive disabled to see where they should go. Maybe it should be an optional feature that people can turn on or off. Regardless of the yellow paint scores, Square Enix is very confident in the game, according to director Naoki Hamaguchi in an interview with YouTuber Julian Chiese via Genki JPN. Hamaguchi said, "We are very confident in terms of the quality of the content, the game truly is superior to its predecessor, and I remain convinced that players will be happy with what we have made." The director also talked about Part 3 of the series, indicating the status of the game is similar to where Rebirth was at the end of Remake, with progress on the script already being made. What's your hype level for Final Fantasy VII Rebirth just a couple of weeks from launch? Let us know in the comments. Let's go for a round of quickfire gaming news. Shift Up's anticipated PS5 exclusive action RPG Stellar Blade has earned an 18+ rating in Korea due to adult themes, including various revealing outfits modeled after Korean model Jae-young, and excessive violence. It has yet to be rated in the US and Europe, but it will likely land somewhere close. Sony reportedly cancelled the launch of the PS5 exclusive Rise of the Ronin in South Korea due to controversial comments made by the game's director Fumihiko Yasuda. In a behind-the-scenes video, Yasuda allegedly praised a historical figure associated with the Japanese conquest of Korean lands, sparking a backlash from the Korean gaming community. The game cannot be pre-ordered from the PlayStation Store in South Korea, but Sony is yet to confirm the decision. The PS5 Slim has received its first price drop in Europe, marked down from 549.99 to 474.99 euros, or 75 euros in saving. The price drop has not been promoted by Sony, instead being reported online, and it's now live on several retailers. Now we know it's because they failed expectations. Blizzard is facing new backlash for Diablo 4, specifically for selling Portal Recolors in the Dark Pathways pack at $30, which has sparked outrage in the community, with many pointing out on Reddit that it's the price for almost half of Diablo 4, or for $10 extra you get something like Helldivers 2. This is yet another entry on the list of Scummy in-game purchases for Blizzard games, including Diablo 4 and Overwatch 2. Crystal Dynamics has added a content warning to Tomb Raider 1-3 Remastered, cautioning against racial and ethnic stereotypes present in the games. The warning says it contains stereotypes that are deeply harmful and don't align with the values of the studio, but rather than removing them, they chose to present them in their original form. There are no specifics, but the speculations say it has to do with the depiction of the South Pacific Islanders as cannibals in Tomb Raider 3. After weeks of rumors that Dragon's Dogma 2 was going to have a 30 FPS cap, director Hideaki Tsuno confirmed it will feature an uncapped frame rate on consoles. That's good but not ideal, as it may lead to inconsistent performance, which many compare to Monster Hunter's World 40 to 45 FPS and not 60. Here's hoping they add a proper performance mode either before or after the game launches. A new rumor hints that 2K could be the next developer for FIFA games, challenging EA Sports FC's dominance. FIFA split from EA in 2022, and since then there have been rumors that 2K could be the one to pick up the series. It's still only a rumor, but if confirmed it will add an interesting entry to the 2K roster of sports games, and the question is if they can compete against EA over team and tournament licenses. The acclaimed indie sports game What the Golf is set to debut on PS4 and PS5 consoles this March 14. The game, developed by Triband, won the GDC award for Best Mobile Game, and now they plan to bring its innovative and humorous take on golf, with over 300 levels and optimized DualSense support for PS5. And those are the PlayStation stories for today. Come back on Friday for a new video, but remember to share your thoughts on any of these news in the comments below, like or dislike to let me know your feedback, check out other videos you may enjoy while you're here, such as Hideo Kojima giving more details on Fizzing and Death Stranding 2, and consider subscribing for more on PlayStation. Thank you so much for watching, my name is Joseph, this is Hype for Games, and let's get hype!